Hello friends, welcome back to English Classes Online. I am Benjamin. Today's video is on how to write meeting minutes in English. Learn English for professionals. If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Click on the bell icon as well so that whenever a new video is uploaded on the channel, you will be notified instantly. Let's dive into the lesson right away. First, we look at the agenda for this episode. Number 1, what are meeting minutes? 2, pre-planning meeting minutes. 3, taking a record of the meeting. 4, writing the official record of the meeting minutes. And 5, using the meeting minutes template. We shall be looking at this one by one. What are meeting minutes? Meeting minutes, also called minutes of meeting, because some people have abbreviated this as MOM, M-O-M, minutes of meeting. This can be described as the official written record of what is said and decided at a meeting. Minutes of a meeting, such as the meeting of a company's board of directors, are very important as they serve as an official and legal record of the organization. In big organizations, minutes serve as an important reference point and are used for tracking progress and making future plans. The minutes of a board meeting contains very important board decisions that are binding on the company. The minutes usually contain a record of motions, votes, and abstentions. The responsibility to take minutes of meetings of a company or its board is typically that of the secretary. If you have an association, you will usually have a secretary, and the duty of the secretary The duties of the secretary include keeping all the minutes and records of the company or association and distributing all required notices. So, we have seen what meeting minutes are all about. When you take the official record of what is said and decided at a meeting, you have taken the minutes of the meeting. And meetings are important ways for companies and other organizations to take key decisions that are binding on the organization. So the management, the administration of every organization always has to do with, decisions taken during the meetings, either of the board of directors or a general meeting. And of course, the minutes of the meeting of a company is always a legal document that can be tendered even at a court of law. So that shows how important meeting minutes are. Now, pre-planning meeting minutes, writing the minutes of a meeting is something that requires planning before time. The first thing that you need to do if you are the secretary is to get the agenda. If you are the secretary or the minutes taker, then you may need to work with the chair or the president of the organization to create a document format that works as an agenda and minutes outline as well. You know, taking the minutes of an important meeting is something that you don't just do in a hurry. It always follows a certain procedure, and it already has an official format. Every organization has their own format, the structure of their minutes, the features of their minutes that are recognized by the organization, recognized by the administration. And so if you are the secretary, you have to get the agenda, which incidentally gives you a clue as to what you must have in the actual minutes. Then the second thing is that you may need to review past meeting minutes to use them as a template. Now, if you are appointed as the secretary to the board of a particular company, you need to review past meeting minutes of that company so that you look at the template, you look at the format, how previous meeting minutes were written, then you follow. And if there is need for any modification or any amendments, of course, it must be as approved by the president or the chair or the entire body or board, if you like. Then another aspect of the pre-planning stage is to get the names of all attendees, including guest speakers or speakers, if any, you know, depending on the type of meeting. And once you have the names of all the attendees, then it will be easy for you to, you know, note those who are present at the meeting and those who are absent. Because in the minutes of the meeting, you must have columns for those present and also a column for those absent. All right. Then the next thing you need to do as a pre-planning step is to confirm the organization or association's acceptable or approved format for minutes. Of course, that's similar to what we have already said. You know, you have to confirm that. Of course, if you are a new secretary to the board, you review the past meeting minutes to use as a template. Then you confirm from the appropriate authorities that no recent changes had taken place as to the templates. And so once you get the confirmation, then you are good to go. The next is taking a record of the meeting. Of course, you can type the notes or write them down on paper. Having an outline or template based on the agenda makes it easy for you to simply jot down notes, decisions, etc. under each item as you go along. So if you have the template, then you will be able to follow. All right. You know exactly where the name of the organization is. Then you put it there, the date, the time. Then you have the column for those present, and then you'll be able to write down those who are present within that column, and then you have the column for those absent, you know. Then you will be able to write the names of those whom you have ascertained to be absent from the meeting. All right, so having the template will make the job easier for you to do. Now, the template will show you the information to record and how to present it. And the important pieces of information that a good meeting minute should contain are as follows. Of course, the date and time of the meeting. We will also see that, of course, the name of the company or organization of course, should be part of the heading. All right. So then we have the date and time of the meeting, and then we have the names of participants and absentees. The next thing is that we should have corrections and amendments to previous meeting minutes. As the secretary, it is your duty to read out the minutes of the previous meeting. All right. And after reading out the minutes of the previous meeting, then of course, if there are any if there are any corrections or any amendments, then that will be noted. Then the next thing is possible there could be additions to the current agenda, if any. So if there is any amendment to the agenda, then of course that will also be noted. Don't forget that the agenda is something that you have worked together with the chairman or the president to produce. But once the agenda is, the copies of the agenda are distributed to the members, some people may observe certain things that should not be part of the agenda, or certain things that should be included in the agenda that are not there. All right. So all these could be the reason for additions to the current agenda, or even certain amendments, if any. Then the next thing to note is whether a quorum is present. A quorum is the minimum number of persons, of participants, or of the members that should be present for the meeting to actually legally and formally commence. All right, that is a quorum. You know, the acceptable number of members that should should be enough or sufficient to declare a meeting open, all right, or to call a meeting to order. So then the next thing you must take note of will be the motions taken or rejected. A motion is, a proposition or a proposal, something that a member has said that should be agreed upon, Then sometimes the motion should be put to vote. And so if you have voting, then you have to take note of the motion moved, seconded, and the outcome of the vote. There will also be need for you to take note of who moved the motion, who seconded the motion, and if a vote has taken place, then you'll be able to take notes of the direction the voting has gone, whether the outcome of the voting was that the motion was passed or that it was rejected. All right, so you have to take note of this. Then the next thing will be actions taken or agreed to be taken. Then there is a column for new business, or what is called business of the day. You have a business of the previous meeting, because after reading the minutes of the previous meeting, there could be matters arising, and those matters arising from the previous minutes become a business of the current meeting, and it is called business from the previous meeting. Then, after all the deliberations, of course, you have to think about the time of adjournment. The time that the meeting comes to a close becomes the time of adjournment, and then after that you take note of the next meeting, the date and time of the next meeting. All right, so these are the various things that you must take record of when the meeting is going on, because the duty of the secretary or the minutes taker is to take record of the proceedings of the meeting, the things said and decided at the meeting. These are the key things you need to do. Like I said before, you can use any method that that works for you The important thing is for you to take note of those key, those important aspects of the minutes that will make the minutes proper and acceptable to the entire membership. All right, so that is exactly whether you type or whether you write down, whether you use a shorthand or a longhand method, or you sometimes you may have a combination of different methods. Of course, today there are different types of software that have come to the rescue of minutes takers. There are certain things that can help you even to take record without tears, without overstressing yourself. So you can get such software that will be of help to you in capturing the major points of the meeting. Now, having seen how to take the record, then the next thing will be writing the official record of the meeting minutes. You know, after you have taken the record during the meeting, there will be need for you to sit down and then write the actual official record of the meeting minutes. And what you do at this point, you review the agenda or template and the notes and decisions you jotted down under each item. As I earlier said, if you have the agenda, you have the template of the meeting, you know, with you while the meeting is going on, that will help you to jot down the notes and decisions under the various items of the agenda or the template, you know, and that makes it the job quite easy. So when writing the official record, all you need to do is to review the notes you have already jotted down under each item. Then as you review the notes, you make sure you rewrite properly all actions taken or agreed to be taken, all motions moved, passed or rejected, votes and decisions. You know, you review them and make them clearer, all right? You review them for clarity. So you review them and rewrite them in a very clearer manner. Then the next thing is to edit the record so that the minutes are clear and easy to read. And then you present the minutes clearly in the appropriate comprehensive template. This is really very, very important. And so you are supposed to have your first draft and probably the second and the final draft when you have looked at everything, edited and proofread everything, and you are sure that you have written down all the things that need to be written down in the meeting minutes. Then it is time to really regard the document you have produced as the actual meeting minutes. All right. Then let's look at the template. Here, I want you to really look at the template. This is the template. All right. This is the template. And here we have the organization name. For instance, if the meeting is the meeting of AB Publications, for instance, or the Article Writers Association, for example, whatever is the organization name, you write it here. That is the first thing, you know, that forms part of the title or the heading of this document. Then the next thing will be under the organization name, you have meeting minutes, and then you have the date. For example, you can say AB Publications meeting minutes, March 5, 2021, for example, you know. So that can be the acceptable heading of the meeting minutes. And you could use any of the methods, either total capitalization method or this method where each key word in the heading starts with a capital letter. You choose exactly whichever one really works for you, and then whichever one is really acceptable, to you. That is really very important. So then, after the date, then the time we follow, we can say, 4 p.m. or, or 4:30 p.m. or 3:45 p.m., whatever may be the time of the particular meeting, you write it down there. All right? So the organization name, AB Publications, or Book Writers Association of Africa, for example, whatever the organization name, you put it here. Then you write meeting minutes, just as it is here. Then you can come up with, March 5, 2021, full stop. All right. So, of course, the time can come under the opening, because here under opening, you write when the meeting was called to order, or when the meeting started, where it was being held, and who called it to order. So you can say that the regular meeting, or the meeting of the book association, the association of book writers, or the Book Writers Association of Nigeria, for instance, the meeting of this association was, declared open at 5 p.m. with a short prayer. By 5 p.m. on, you can write the date. By 5 p.m. on March 5th, 2021, you mention the place at the National Library of Nigeria, main hall, so whichever way, you can say the meeting was, or the meeting commenced with a short prayer said by Dr. Okon Abu, at exactly 5 p.m. March 5th, 2020, at the National Library of Nigeria main hall, or at the main hall of the National Library of Nigeria. Just, mention when the meeting was called to order, or when the meeting commenced, where it was held, and who called it. You also specify when refers to the time. Then the next thing is those present, all the members present. Then you write present here. Then you can begin with the president, or the chairman, or the facilitator, whatever is the name of the head of that organization. If he is present, then it's proper to start with the head of that particular organization. You can say Chief Balogun Inyang, president, Then you can come up with Dr. Obi Eze, secretary, Mr. So, board member, or probably vice president, So you list the names of those present, and then those absent, you write their names here, and if they are holding any position, then you write their position against their name. Now, having written the opening, those present and those absent, the next thing will be the approval of the agenda, because the agenda of the meeting needs to be approved, especially if it is a high caliber meeting, such as the meeting of the board of directors of a particular organization. So in that case, you can say that the agenda was unanimously approved as distributed. If the agenda was approved, you mention it, then you also mention that of the minutes. There are certain things that can happen to the minutes. If there are any amendments to the minutes of the previous meeting, then you can mention it, that the minutes of the previous meeting were amended and then unanimously approved. Or if there are no amendments, you can simply say that the minutes of the previous meeting were unanimously approved as distributed. All right. Or if the organization has the practice of reading out the meeting, then of course, if you want to comment on the reading, you can also comment on that. Then the next thing will be business from the previous meeting. You have to take note of any motions or topics that were previously raised, a brief description of what took place, and whether they were approved or rejected. So in this case, you have to comment on business from the previous meeting. You can, itemize the key points or subheadings one by one. For instance, if one of the key issues discussed in the previous meeting was budget committee report, or if there was any issue or any matter, then you simply write it as a subheading, and then you comment on what exactly happened, the kind of decision taken as regards the business from the previous meeting. Now, when you are through with this, the next one will be the new business or business of the day, if you like. Any motion or topics that were discussed for the first time at this meeting, they all fall under new business. And then you make a brief description of what took place and whether they were approved or rejected. That is exactly what you need to do. Then if some items under the new business could not be discussed, probably because the officer who is supposed to brief the board concerning that matter happens to be absent, you note it there. And what naturally happens is that such an item of the agenda could be, deferred. You can say it is deferred for the next meeting, since such a person was not in attendance. Then you mention the position and how the position is related to the matter that ought to have been discussed. The matters discussed under new business, you write them down, itemize them subtopic by subtopic. All right. Then if there are any additions to the agenda, any additional items that were raised by committee members, then of course you write them under this subheading, additions to the agenda. Now, when all the items have actually been discussed and there is nothing else to talk about, someone will move a motion for adjournment, and then you will take note of what time the meeting was adjourned and by who, as well as where the next meeting will be held and when. So in this case, you can take note of the particular person who moved the motion for adjournment. You can say that the meeting was adjourned at such time, you know, following a motion moved by Mrs. Abu, for instance, and which was seconded by Dr. Okezie, and the motion was unanimously passed. Then you mentioned that the next meeting will be held at such time on such a date and at such a place, So that is exactly how to write the minutes. Then once the minutes have been completed, then you have to write who actually submitted the minutes submitted by, of course, uh, you as the secretary or the minutes taker, your name will be there, and then minutes approved by, the person who has the authority to approve the minutes, the name will be here, and of course signatures will be appended. So that is exactly how to write a professional minutes of a meeting, whether it is at the company board level or even the general meeting of a company, or whether it is even, of course, if it is a staff meeting or the meeting of organizations, of course, it depends on the degree of formality and also the format agreed by the organization. Don't forget that the templates for meeting minutes differ from one organization to another, and there are actually no dogmatic or hard and fast rules as to how to really come up with a template. But you just have to ensure that the important items, important features of the meeting minutes are contained in the meeting minutes. So that's how it has been in today's video. We have been talking about how to write meeting minutes in English. And this actually is English for professionals, because if you are conversant with the writing of meeting minutes, you will discover that it is the job of a secretary. And if you are talking of a very big organization, it is really a professional work that needs to be done by a professional. So in this video, we have been talking about English for professionals, one aspect of English for professionals, which is how to write meeting minutes in English. I hope you have learned certain lessons, gained certain insight into how to write meeting minutes, and I hope that you will be able to use the benefits you gain from this lecture to make yourself a better meeting minutes writer or meeting minutes taker if you find yourself in a position to take or write the meeting minutes of your organization. I want to thank you for being part of today's episode. If you have any questions, any comments or concerns, leave them in the comment section below. If you have any topic in mind that you really want me to discuss in subsequent videos, you can suggest the topic in the comment section as well. I want you to know that all of you out there that are my subscribers and viewers of this channel, you are all highly esteemed. And whenever you make a suggestion or a recommendation, we act on it with dispatch. It might interest you to know that today's topic came directly in response to the requests, or a question. One of the subscribers asked a question: uh, uh, what is minutes writing or something? Is really on the comment section. You might even find it if you search the channel. So I responded with this discussion. And that is how highly I esteem all my subscribers. Whatever comment or suggestion you make will actually will elicit prompt response from me. If you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly do so and click on the bell icon so that whenever new videos are uploaded, you will be instantly notified and you will have access to all the videos we upload on this channel. Thank you once again for tuning in. See you in the next lecture and goodbye.